Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we'll be talking about Love and Marriage Detroit, Season 2, Episode 3.
My memory is coming back to me, guys. I'm starting to remember what I said in Season 1, and now it's making me like, oh, okay, these are the characters now. The names are still kind of fuzzy.
Okay.
But it's coming back to me. You ready to walk us through this?
I'm ready.
Subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. Let's go, Blair.
So Anthony invited Christina out for dinner to see where they stand as friends.
Mm-hmm.
He tells Christina that Brandon talked to him about, what some of the things that they were going through, and he prays that they're okay.
Okay.
And Christina is like, yep, we'll work it out, and God has got us.
What is Christina's husband's name?
Brandon.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so she is pretty much like, I don't know really why he brought me here. Yeah. She's kind of like on edge, and she's like, I don't know if he's really cares or if he's just trying to be nosy. So she's not trying to give him too much.
Okay.
So Anthony invites her onto his podcast, and Christina is like, well, if her husband allows it, then she will go if you guys are in a good space.
Okay.
But Anthony wants to try to build bridges to kind of mend the relationship. And Christina is like, that's like a whole different tune than you were doing last season. You was breaking a whole bunch of situations and relationships, and now you want to put the things back together that you broke.
Yeah.
Anthony says that he's just trying to do better and trying to repair situations that he probably could have handled better before.
Okay.
Christina felt that there were a lot of jabs thrown at her character. We see the flashback to the reunion when LaToya called her a manipulator.
She did.
And Christina is like, it doesn't feel likely that we're going to be able to mend these relationships with all the things that were said about me. So they also brought around Brandon and Christina's ops, the person from last season, as well as Kimberly this season.
Yes.
Anthony says, like, look, we know a lot of the same people. He is in the confessional talking about Christina's not popping in the city like that, and we know Kim and all this type of stuff. Anthony just has like a really ugly disposition when it comes to Christina, and it's really off-putting.
Yeah.
But Christina says, like, she's good. Her marriage or her situation is going to be what it's going to be, and it is what it is overall.
Look, I tell you, my memory is foggy. So Brandon is Christina's husband?
Yes.
Okay, his name is Brandon. I know who Anthony is. Man Movement Anthony.
Yes.
MMA. I don't know if I should let you go first because I know how much, and I know what you think about Anthony and things of that nature. So I'm going to keep it short and concise. Okay. Jealousy comes in many different forms, and jealousy on a man do not look good. It never looks good on a man. Not saying that it looks better on a woman and things like that, but I'm just talking from Man Movement Chris over here. Right? Anthony, you have no reason to be jealous of Christina because every time you talk about Christina, you talk about how much she is not popping in the city. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Blair, you can have the floor.
I don't even want to spend that much time on Anthony.
Okay.
I really don't think he's worth a lot of the conversation.
Okay.
I just find it so weird that he finds himself in beef with a woman. Like, it's just odd to me. Like, why do you want to be in opposition to her and also be in opposition to Brandon, but you're willing to have a sit down one-on-one conversation with Christina to see where y'all are at as friends when you was just making fun of the girl's jacket last episode or the one before that.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, you don't like this girl. Like, why are you putting yourself in situations to appear to be a friend or a confidant or to want to be a mentor to her or something like that when they don't want you in their lives in that capacity?
Yeah.
So Anthony, I think he could stand to back off and chill out a little bit, but for some reason it's just coming off as obsession and like a real weirdo. It's odd to watch.
And then to ask, I think you said in the notes to ask to come on his podcast.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, what are you you here to talk about my marriage to help, or are you here to try to get me on your podcast? But yet at the same time, I'm not popping, I'm nobody. You throwing all these jabs and things of that nature.
But you want me on your podcast to talk about me and who I am, and it's just kind of like, it's
just weird.
You're coming off real snake-like. It's really odd.
Yeah.
So Christina meets with her mom-in-law, which is Brandon's mom. Russell is going to do some biblical counseling for them, but she's telling the mom that she doesn't know how long Brandon is going to be living with her. So the mom is like, well, with Brandon, he kind of comes and goes as he pleases. He really doesn't talk much. And Christina's like, that's pretty much the situation I was living in as well.
Yeah.
She says that she doesn't know how to handle Brandon, and the mom and Christina's like, he's talked about his childhood issues, and the mom is like, Brandon, he be putting a little too much dip on his chip when it comes to the childhood issues type of thing. She was like, look, his dad never did anything. The only thing the dad had to do was mow the grass, and he would tell her mom that if she tried to make the work fun, then maybe he would do more stuff around the house. So Brandon saw his mom doing everything coming up. So she thinks that because as his mom, she did everything, that he expects his wife to do everything as well. And to her, she got out of her marriage because it was just another child to take care of, and she wasn't about to do that.
Yeah, now stop right there, because I felt like the mother was giving it up. I was like, wait a minute, are we in a private conversation, or are we on a TV show? I love the scene.
Yeah.
Right. Be careful how you think about your past, because you can kind of put too much dip on a chip, as Blair said, on your past, in the sense of like, oh yeah, I lived in such a terrible childhood, and the mother's like, wait a minute now, listen here, I understand the father didn't mow the grass, the father only had one job to do, he barely did that, but at the end of the day, things got done. I did what I had to do to take care of the family.
Yeah.
Even to the point where within a couple of years the marriage was okay, but after that, things, once we started having children, it became a lot, and I had to basically take care of myself. So I can see how Brandon, right? His name is Brandon. I can see how Brandon, in his early years, can think, hey, a woman's supposed to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Right? But he don't have that excuse, because he's not 19, he's not 25, he's not 35. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, what's wrong, the work you have to do. I think it is a intentional choice for him not to do it.
I agree.
And things like that.
So Christina talks about how she has been lonely in the marriage.
Yeah.
She always hoped that he would change, but how many years do you wait for somebody to change?
How many?
He says divorce like every few months, and one of the last times he said divorce, she kicked him out the house, and she also went to go file.
Yeah.
But the courthouse said, oh, we do that online now. So before she had a chance to file online, Brandon was telling her we should be together. God wants us to be together. Like, we need to hold true to our vows.
Listen here, don't be scared now. You straight was basically faking on me the whole time, and the one time that I actually followed through with it, you're like, wait, I was playing. God wants us to be together. Wait. We gonna see in the scene later down the line how he don't know the fruits of the spirits and things of that nature, but yet he know God wants them to be together. Well, before we enter God into this, hey, I feel alone.
Yeah.
And you don't do enough things in the house. Let's take God out of that. Let's not manipulate this thing. Are you going to change? Yes or no? No? Okay, I'm going to file for divorce.
Right.
And
the mom is just trying to give her any kind of piece of advice. And she just tells her, you need to live your own life.
Wow.
Do what you want to do. Get on with your life. And you need to find a way to be able to take care of yourself. And the mom talks about how it was easier for her to leave her marriage because she had a job. She had, something to where she didn't have to depend on her husband.
You're right.
And Christina says that she does depend on Brandon. I thought it was interesting how she didn't talk about financially. She talked about she depends on him, like in the house and all this type of stuff. But she sees how much she does alone. But it's just like the financial part clearly is a big portion as well. So
what are your thoughts?
My thoughts on that, I agree with the mom. Like, Christina, make a decision and move on with your life.
Wow.
Like, Brandon, and the way that they talk about how things were when they first got married, I don't feel like Brandon has ever been the person that Christina has wanted to be with.
Wow.
For him talking about people's bodies and women's bodies and stuff at the wedding, I'm just like, clearly he's not who you want as a husband. Like, he doesn't embody the fruit of the spirit or the things that are important to you in a husband, and he never has. So I think it is kind of wild to me that she is willing to wait when he's never showed himself to be that person or even come close to working to become that person. And I think for Brandon's case, he's getting to pretty much do what he wants in life. Like, he can bring his clothes to his ex-wife and then go see his mistress down the street, if that's what he so chooses. So I think that Brandon is pretty content with his life and still being married to Christina, even though he threatens divorce whenever he wants. But I think that Christina would have to be the one to make the decision. Brandon, I feel, is going to be too comfortable to make a move either way. So
can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I said, can I ask you a question, Blair? The question is, you said he never had those attributes that basically Christina was speaking of when it came to the husband, to them having a healthy marriage. Based on the conversation that she had with the mother, do you believe the mother thinks Brandon can learn those attributes?
No.
Me neither.
She's telling her, don't wait on him.
That's what I'm saying too. And I'm like, man, who mama are you? Like,
but that to me, that speaks a lot, that she knows her son, and she's just like, I don't know who you think you marry, girl. Because go live your life.
Because I don't want to only speak from a high and mighty place.
Right.
Somebody may not be man or woman, who they basically supposed to be in a relationship in the beginning, and they can learn while going. But based on the conversation, the way they was giving it up in this scene, I don't think the mother even trusts or even believed that her son had the ability to change.
Yeah.
And that's why she's basically like telling him, or telling her rather, Christina, hey, move on with your life. Knowing that she got grandchildren. You get what I'm saying? Like knowing that, hey, it's gonna be hard for you.
Yeah.
Knowing that Brandon supports her financially and things of that nature. Christina may bring in something, but Brandon may be like a traditional guy. I pay for everything and you just do everything else and things like that. But knowing that, hey, you're about to go through hell, I'd rather you go through hell than stay with my son Brandon. I'm like, that's wild.
Yeah. Because at least you'll end up on the other side.
Yeah,
if you choose this way. The other way, you'll stay right where you're at.
Yeah.
So next we have Dr. LaToya and Anthony going out for their date night. She talks about how she's going to be adding some champagne to her wine line.
Yeah.
Anthony has taken a step back from the business because this is mostly her business.
Okay.
And he's been a security blanket for her, so it's kind of been a lot for her to manage on her own.
Nice.
So Anthony fills in Dr. LaToya on the outing that he had with Christina, and how Christina believes Kim was brought onto the show by LaToya to come after her, Christina. Anthony is just like, look, Kim has been popping in the city. Like, we're basically, you're blessed that we have people coming around who are doing big things in the city. And they're both just saying how that they don't have beef. They want to squash the beef between them, but the beef is not coming from their side.
Okay.
So he wants them to just kind of meet up as a couples and just kind of end whatever tension they have going on.
Let me read this scene a little bit. LaToya, come here for a second. I'm not going to pink slip you this episode, but best believe it's close, right? LaToya, I just want to tell you that you are lame. You're passive aggressive, and it's showing. And jealousy shows in many ways. And you're taking on the same attributes, or maybe y'all, birds of a feather flock together, as your husband. Your husband trying to tell you how the meeting go. You're like, I don't care, and you will see how that meeting that Christina had with Anthony goes compared to the meeting that she will have with Russell, right? Y'all have meetings, or rather Anthony having a meeting to gossip back to his wife to basically say Kim been popping in the city. As far as I know, Kim face and Kim picture is not on the main it's not on the main screen for this show and things like that. She's not a main cast member.
Right.
I find it very interesting how much people want to be on the same show, on the same time slate and things like that, but think they are above somebody else.
Yeah. And
you're not even the main couple on the show. The main couple on the show don't even live together. The main story is Christina and Brandon. You get what I'm saying? So you're doing everything in your power that I feel like they're doing, Anthony and LaToya. They're doing everything in their power to basically show we should be the main couple. We've been popping. Y'all should be happy that we know people that's popping around the city and things like that. Listen, this was my first introduction to you, brother. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know who popping in Detroit, and I don't care. I'm just trying to watch the show.
Exactly. So it's like, I don't even know, hey, worry about, besides popping in the city, put on a good show, put on some good scenes and things of that nature that, make us interested in the show. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anthony, he's just coming around to gossip to his wife.
Yeah.
And, pillow talk, it happens. It is what it is. But it's just so weird because he's just so fake. Being in front of Christina and trying to be like, I'm praying everything goes good for you. And then going to Christina talking about how she ain't even popping and all this type of stuff. And I'm just like, can you just leave the girl alone then? If you really don't like her, you both don't like her. Just leave her alone. And they want to be so above it and talking about how they don't have beef with them. But it seems like y'all do a lot of talking about them.
Yeah.
For y'all to not have no beef with them.
You're right.
You can't hide it. It's very obvious. So moving on. Russell is going to do a spiritual teaching session with Christina and Brandon. So he pulls up to the house, he gets in the driveway, he calls Brandon, lets him know hey, I'm at the house, I'm gonna wait here till you get here. And so Christina comes out because she sees Russell in the driveway and she's like, you can come in, right? He's like, nope, not doing that. He's of the type of guy to where he's just if the man's not in the house, I'm not going in the house, I'll wait till Brandon gets here.
Facts.
So he tells her that they are having a girl. Him and Kolby are having a girl, and they're just going to keep trying until they get a boy.
Okay. It takes two to tango, Russell, though.
So Brandon arrives and they start their session, and Russell sets the tone of the conversation and saying that, look, y'all, I'm not a counselor.
Yeah.
I'm coming here as a friend, as like a family, like part of your family, just somebody who cares about y'all. So they get into conversation, and Christina shares that she wants Brandon to have the fruit of the Spirit. Everything will trickle down from there. If he has that, then he can lead with love and gentleness. So she wrote down the scripture, the fruit of the Spirit, for Brandon on an index card so he can see it. And Russell's like, oh, are you like familiar with this? And Brandon says he's not familiar with this. Brandon doesn't know like where to go to like learn to be a better husband. He's like, Russell, you were in the military. Like, that's how you learn to be disciplined. Brandon is just like,
oh no.
I'm just like, Brandon, I feel like Brandon looks for every excuse not to be a good person.
Yeah. Oh man. Not good husband.
Not even, that's out of the picture for me, but I digress until we get to the end. Okay. So Brandon says that he has been in the Word, but he was closer to God before marriage. He thinks that they may have grown apart spiritually, maybe to the point where they're no longer equally yoked.
Okay.
So Brandon shares that he has been in therapy for a year, and he recognizes that he needs work, and he was not necessarily equipped to be married. But Russell says, well, at this point, right? Like, you know what you need to do to be married, and what the work is that you need to put in. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I do know by this point. Yeah. You've been married over 12 years. Like, yeah. So Russell says, just figure out what you need to do to get back in the house. That should be your top priority because your kids and your wife need to see you in the home.
I'm not gonna be long. As a husband, I wasn't equipped to be a husband. Blair, she wasn't equipped to be a wife because we never did it before.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? So let's take that excuse.
And how other people do it is not how you're going to do it.
So I don't even know what that means. Now that you're not equipped, guess what? If you're doing it wrong, the person you with will tell you you're doing it wrong. Hey, this is what I need. Okay, you wasn't doing that either, so let's take that excuse off the table. So you can't use ignorance as an excuse, in my opinion.
No.
When it comes to this.
Not at this big age.
No, not at this big age. And I feel like Russell, he was being nice and he was being empathetic. He was basically leading the conversation. But at the end of it, he's like, yo, do what you need to do to get back in this house. Figure it out. I'm not here to tell you like a guidebook, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. You're a man. When it comes to, I find it so interesting that when it comes to his career as him being a producer, of him having this whole record company or this group where he basically like manages his people and make them into stars and things like that. He knows how to do that. He put time into that. He knows how to function as well, we hope, because he is bringing his laundry over to his wife's house, but who knows. But I'm like, I find it so interesting what people put the work in when it comes to making money, right? But when it comes to actually having a peaceful life, they put that accountability on somebody else. And I think he's trying to put that on Christina and trying to make it seem like, well, I didn't know. I need a guidebook. What is the example? You went to the military, Russell. It's like, no, like relax, bro.
I think the point that we're trying to get to, Brandon, is just be a decent person.
Wow.
Be nice.
Be nice.
Be thoughtful. Considerate. And I'm not even going through the fruit of the spirits because I don't even think we there yet.
Cause those not it. I'm about to say, if you thought you was listing them, I'm about to say, baby, that's not it.
I'm not listing the fruit of the spirits.
Okay.
I'm just mentioning decent, like human decency.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think that he's missing human decency. I think that when God gets put into the picture and fruit of the spirit, his brain gets to spinning, and he's just like, I'm just not there yet, and it makes everything a little bit more confusing, and I got to be this godly man for my wife.
You're right.
Be a decent human first.
Yeah.
And then the fruit of the spirits don't even necessarily have to do anything with you being a husband. That's just the life that you choose to live out as a Christian man. So if you ascribe to that, that's what you should be striving for. If you don't ascribe to that, hey,
and listen here,
live your life how you live your life.
And look, to Blair's point, the fruits of the spirits, one of them is love. You don't need to be a Christian to love somebody. You don't need to be a husband to love somebody. Right. It goes back to Blair's point. Be a decent human being. and love somebody. Long suffering, basically, like, don't be so like, oh, just dump people and things like that. Like, endure with, like, basically have friends, and things like that. You get what I'm saying?
And we haven't even gotten to the marriage part.
No, like, this is just you as a person, and I think you hit the nail on the head right there, Blair. Also, I want to just circle the point that Russell is the person that Anthony thinks he is.
Right.
Like at the end of the day, Christina had a conversation with Anthony one-on-one for whatever reason, or like to stroke whatever ego Anthony had, right? But when it came to their marriage, Russell approached both of them because I know both of them.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And Russell shed a tear for both of them. You get what I'm saying? He ain't going back to the house. He didn't even go in the house until he got there. But he ain't going back to the house to say, you know what, she ain't popping and things like that. And the wife ain't on the other side of the table saying, you know what, I don't care and things like that. Well, if you don't care, don't be friends with them.
Exactly.
And then guess what? You won't be on the show. That's the facts. You get what I'm saying? But, you know, I digress. In other words, Brandon, you got no excuse, bro. Be a decent person, like Blair said.
Yeah, so that's just the point. Be a decent person. Then get back into, if you say or claim to be a Christian or want to be closer to God, then live your life in that way. And like Christina says, it'll trickle down into your marriage. He's thinking that once he starts talking about God, then that means he needs to step up as a husband and all this type of stuff. You're confusing yourself, and I think you're doing it on purpose.
Oh no,
so that way you don't have to
doing it on purpose.
Put in the work because it's just too much. It's just all too much. Be a better person.
Yeah, he over there talking about, look, I married a nun. You see, look, you're missing it.
Exactly.
You know,
intentionally.
Yeah.
So we move on. Kim meets up. She's got a team to where she's throwing a holiday event. She's asking people to bring some toys for Tots and some money donations to give back to the city. So her husband, Marcel, comes in after the meeting. She tells him that she is going to invite everyone, because it's a good cause. She also wants to put together a wine tasting for Dr. LaToya. It's a huge deal that she's also adding a champagne. So she wants to honor her and celebrate her for that.
Yeah.
So she asked her husband when they're going to go on a date night. They had a conversation about being intentional. And she thinks that means having more conversation, carving out more time for each other, and at least having a date once a month.
Yeah.
So he owns that he's not the best when it comes to being intentional with their date night. So he is going to make sure that they spend more time together, whether it's going out to eat or a movie. He's going to try to carve out that time for her.
Yeah. I don't know why Kimberly's on my show. I believe I kicked her off.
You did give her the pink slip.
I gave her like the pink slip on episode 2, I think it was. So Kimberly, I am not interested in your storyline because you don't have one. This may seem kind of mean, but hey, when I think her husband named Marcel, you said, he came over and said, you going to invite everyone to this charity event? She said, yes, I will invite them. Basically, I think their name was the Smiths, Brandon and Christina. Hey, listen here, if we don't get along, don't invite me to your charity event. I'm sorry. I know it's for a good cause, and that's the only reason why that you're inviting me, because you believe that I'm gonna put things to the side to give to the good cause. I will give my own toys to the tots on my own time. Okay, like you get what I'm saying? I don't have to do it. Beef
does not die on Christmas.
I don't have to do it on your on your event because you don't talk to me nice. You get what I'm saying? So I'm gonna give my own toys to the tots on my own time.
Hello.
All right, you feel me?
So LaToya and Kolby meet up at the gym, or to me it looked like it was like LaToya, like where she works, like for her PT office.
Yeah.
And so she's teaching Kolby some proper ways to squat and do different exercises. Kolby shares that they're going to have another girl, and she is trying to be optimistic about it, but she has been very emotional about this.
Yeah.
So LaToya shares that she was devastated by the fact that she had 2 boys, to the point where she had to repent because it was a blessing that she could even get pregnant twice when some people can't even conceive. And so she kind of put to bed like that idea of a daughter and became grateful for her child, for her children. She talks about how the youngest son is just kind of more reserved, more like her in different ways. But she also feels like there are certain ways that he is because of how she responded to the news when he was in her belly. And that can kind of like affect the child and trickle down to where the child can feel that you felt a way about them.
I just want to touch on this slightly. I don't think Kolby, and I think Kolby is going to look back on this and realize like, yeah, I was tripping. I hope. Because it wasn't a good look. It's almost embarrassing. The fact that LaToya said she basically had the same attitude when it comes to two boys, I'm like, that kind of explains a lot of the type of person you are. I ain't trying to judge nobody who they are, because like I said, when it comes to having a baby, I'm a guy. I don't know what it's like to want something and then be like, oh my goodness, I don't have it. So I'm gonna put it there. I ain't gonna touch it.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? But I do think, especially since this is a public platform, and the energy that Kolby was giving when she found out she about to have another daughter, just because you're gonna have a son, or if you were to have a son, doesn't mean that they will be close with you. I think they gonna be close to the parent that's mostly positive.
Yeah.
Like Russell looks like it's fun being a dad.
Yeah.
And you seem like it's a burden being a mom. Mm-hmm. So it's like I think and I hope, like, you know, like you said, they're young and she grow out of it. But it was kind of a bad look, and I'm kind of happy that they had this conversation on camera. Even though she said I'm struggling through it, but like I said, it's a process. I don't know what it's like to want something and not get it. When it comes to a baby in that way.
Yeah. So LaToya shares that she is going to meet up with the Smiths to clear the air, but ultimately she doesn't really care.
LaToya, shut up. I'm tired of you. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. Like, after I just gave you praise 2 seconds ago, shut up, please, you know?
So Kim arrives, and she relays that she's going to meet with the Smiths. Yeah. And Kim says, look, we've had conversations to where things have seemed good with me and Christina, but there's no follow-up or follow-through when it comes to her. But at the end of the day, like, the issues that I have with her is not y'all's issues.
Well, stop right there. I told Blair to write that down specifically, right? She said, my issues with Christina is not your issues. Mind you, everything that LaToya been referencing to is someone else's issues. Yeah. We still don't know what her problem is with Christina. And we figured out what Kimberly's problem was about the Android comment that Christina friend said, not even Christina. So basically, so far, this is just a meeting about nothing so far. Because we still don't know what the issue is, but continue.
And they also feel like Christina needs to put her ego in check. Okay. Kim is like, she did need to come on here to attack Christina. Like, she has enough going on. She's popping in the city, as Anthony would say. So they're just kind of like, yeah, I have no reason to go after Christina.
Hey, Kimberly, I don't know who you are either. Before this show, I ain't know who Christina was. And the thing about it is, I'm not even a fan, really, of Christina. But my thing is, if you really had an issue with Christina, this show, when you got the opportunity to be on it, this would have been your opportunity to be like, this is my real issue, and you could have got people on your side, right? But you came in too strong with nothing. Yeah. Even now, you showing up talking about she's not accountable. She needs to put her ego aside and things like that. What is the issue? And it just letting me know every time y'all talk about it, every time y'all come on my TV, every time we review this show and y'all don't say what the issue is, it lets me know y'all don't have the issue. Because if you actually have an issue that would make Christina look bad, I don't see y'all holding that back. Yeah. But it lets me know y'all don't really have anything. And really, truth be told, I don't know if Christina have an ego, but one thing she does have is confidence. And guess what? It just looks like y'all are intimidated by her confidence. And y'all look jealous.
I don't know about that.
No, to me, I'm just like, y'all keep talking about how much y'all doing, but y'all on this show.
Yeah, but the thing is, I see the line like ways from last season and all the things like that. I can't think back to exactly, and I know that's going to make me look crazy because I can't remember. But when it came to like the Kolby Christina situation, I was on Kolby's side. Yeah. I felt like Christina mishandled her friendship in that way.
In a way.
Yeah. And so for that, like, I can understand if LaToya is like, I see enough of a character of people of how they treat others and other people that they claim to be their closest friends. I'm not going to get close to somebody who does this to somebody they call their sister.
That's fair.
You know? But I do think that it's a little overkill for LaToya and Anthony to be so like against her, talking trash and all this type of stuff. Like, I feel like you guys could stand to be a tinge bit more neutral. Yeah. You could still be on the side of, I don't really fool with her like that, but I don't think y'all need to go as hard as you have been going against her.
Yeah. The only issue that I have with that issue from season 1 is that it was business, right? And when business and I guess friendship get murky and things like that, it gets a little muddied. I will say that Christina could have handled it better, right? For sure.
But my issue with Christina with that is that she didn't acknowledge her wrongdoing in any part.
I understand that. I understand that. And for Kolby, I can understand why Kolby may feel some type of way. But in this conversation, the only ones who was talking was Kimberly and LaToya. Yeah. Toya was right there. She ain't say anything, and she have her own personal.
Kolby.
Kolby rather, was talking, and she had her own art with Christina. Whole time, Kimberly, tell us what the issue is, right? Next scene, when they all go out on a double date, LaToya and Anthony with Brandon and Christina, when it's time to bring up the issue, we still don't get the issue. All we get is we the people. Mm-hmm. We the people. Mm-hmm. The people are saying, no, what's the issue? And that's why I say it comes off as if y'all are intimidated or jealous by this girl. And I don't even understand why y'all are. Y'all all on the same show. Season 2. We didn't even think we was getting a season 2. So I don't even understand it, but it is what it is.
So Anthony, LaToya, Brandon, and Christina all meet up to play knocker ball.
Yeah.
So everybody's laughing. They're knocking each other down. Mm-hmm. Anthony yelling man movement. They finish up the games and they end up talking. They said that they have a truce. But Brandon asked if LaToya and Christina, have any type of foundation to build their friendship or relationship forward. Mm-hmm. And Christina brings up her issues with the fact that she didn't like being called fake by LaToya, and that's going to be an issue for her, as well as when LaToya called her manipulative.
Yeah.
And LaToya saying it is what it is. I don't remember calling you manipulative. Huh? And then Christina's like, but you also brought Kim around, and she's using the same verbiage saying that I'm manipulative and conniving. And Toya was like, but multiple people have said those things.
Yeah.
They're trying to ask her, so who has said this? What people are you talking about? And she doesn't want to name names, but she's like, we can talk about your history and your reputation in Detroit. Mm-hmm. And that's how people feel about you. And Christina is upset because Christina has only talked to or treated LaToya in the way of their personal experience, and she hasn't treated her based off of what other people have said. Mm-hmm. And I felt like that was a pretty fair point. At the same time, I can still dislike you based off of how you treat other people. So
is that your thoughts on the scene?
Yeah, pretty much. And I just feel like Dr. LaToya, I think that she should just come out and just say, you're just not my type of girl.
Yeah.
You're just not my type, and it doesn't have to be a thing of where we have any issues or beef, but for you to be like, you don't care, you don't remember, and all this type of stuff, it is like you're being pretty passive when it's clear you don't like the girl.
Yeah.
So just say that so it can be known where you guys stand, and you guys don't have to be close, but you can be cordial,
Yeah. And maybe that's what LaToya thinks she's doing. Whenever she thinks she just like, hey, I don't care, but then you will engage in conversations that speaks the latter. So that's why I'm like, I think she thinks she's doing that, but like she's not. When it comes to one thing I remember from season 1 is I think LaToya's father is a pastor.
Yeah.
Right. And Christina is a Bible thumper, is what I would call her.
Okay.
Right. These are usually the type of characteristics that you find in the church, to where it's like this self-righteousness in both of them. To where it's like, you know what? Besides coming to the thing that they supposed to do based on who her father is, how she's raised in the church, and who Christina talk about fruits of the spirit, they supposed to come together and they supposed to talk about the things that they have against each other and come to a resolve.
Yeah. Right?
But they are not showing the fruits of the spirit, if we're going to talk about that, Christina. You get what I'm saying? On both parts. And I think that's why I keep saying I think LaToya is jealous. I don't know what it is, but I say it is fair to see how you treat others and to basically be like, I'm just going to keep my eyes on you. Mm-hmm. But I remember at Christina's event when LaToya showed up, and she was basically like being like very like passive aggressive and basically treating Christina like the enemy without any clarification. She chose a side without even getting clarification. So it's like, jealousy, in my opinion, will show up in many ways. Like, you want it to be against. And I don't think the situation with Christina and Kolby was that objectively clear to be like, I'm on this person's side and I'm on that person's side. I think it was very subjective based on like the optics of the situation. They'd be like, okay, I kind of see how Christina is. Christina could have answered her phone. I get that. And okay, Kolby, I can see your side. I don't think nobody was objectively wrong in that situation. But I think in this situation, LaToya is objectively wrong because everything that Christina is bringing up is things that we seen at the reunion.
Yeah, that LaToya has actually said or brought about. And she it just doesn't want to speak to what she said. Like, if you really feel like I'm manipulative, tell me that.
Exactly.
Tell me like, yeah, I said you were manipulative because I believe it.
And then whenever, and then the whole time, whenever I bring Kimberly up, you're like, I didn't even know y'all knew each other. And then when I ask you who are the people, you saying people. people. It's like, no, I can't deal with someone like that, and I can't trust your assessment that you are really I don't want to say good person, because I ain't trying to be on no high horse and say good person, but I can't trust your assessment because you over here just talking vaguely, and who knows what you're really saying is the truth, because you keep saying people saying it. People say, who are the people and what are they saying?
Yeah, I guess my thing is like, I think that they should stop trying to like be friends. Like, I think it's clear like they don't like each other.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's, to me, I'm just like, don't be fake trying to be around and trying to figure out what they got going on in their marriage just so y'all can talk mess to each other, or bring their ops around, or people that you know that they don't necessarily get along with. Because I refuse to believe LaToya doesn't know. The way that Kim is so easily talks about the things that Christina did, I'm just like, ain't no way you didn't know that at least Kim was not cool with Christina.
And she just magically appeared on the show because she's popping in Detroit.
Exactly.
Stop it.
I'm just like, that's not even like plausible.
I'm about to say, stop it.
So I'm just like, if y'all just stop trying. You know what I'm saying? Stop trying to create this friendship that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But be around each other, be cool. I feel like the way that Kolby and Russell are kind of moving when it comes to the group or navigating in these situations is fair. Like, we were cool. We fell out. We thought things were good at the reunion. Christina hasn't really followed up. So we're just going to try to be cool and see where things lay out. But I feel like Anthony is trying to get him and LaToya to be like back close with Brandon and Christina. And I'm just like, just chill out.
Yeah.
Just chill out and let things fall where they land.
Especially since your wife, Anthony, have no objective, legitimate reason why she don't like Christina.
And sometimes you don't need to, and just sit in that.
And guess what? You don't need to, but then I have the right to say you're lame. Then I have the right to say I can't trust your judgment because you're not even man enough to come and tell me your issue. You just over here being passive aggressive, and for that, LaToya comes off as sneaky, passive aggressive, snake, lame, all those adjectives and things like that. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Listen here, LaToya, I may have a pink slip for you next episode.
Oh no.
I'm letting you know this right now. I may have a pink slip for you next episode because listen here, you're a doctor, you are established and all that stuff, but this don't look good for y'all. This don't look good for y'all. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Make sure y'all subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. We see y'all next week.
Bye.